Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Mark Marquette. We're so glad you're with us today to stay curious on Friday, December 6th, 2024. And today we've got breaking news all show today. Some current events that have been going on this week, and some from the Webb Telescope to what's happening in Washington, D.C. So stick around for that. I'm going to have fun today doing this show. Had a busy day today. Marty, hello to you on the UCAC family microphone there. How you like my Christmas shirt there? It makes me invisible there. So,
Well, you're just partially invisible.
oh, thank you. Yes. But Marty brought in a wonderful guy, Daryl Higginbotham, that we met at the Rocket Ranch reunion a couple Friday last Friday or 2 Fridays ago. And this man was in charge of the hold down bolts on the Saturn V rocket. And boy, did we hear some stories already that you're going to love. And I took a lot of pictures that he had in his scrapbook, Marty. He just had a scrapbook of his mission, had all the patches from the Launch Control Center and stuff like that, the badges, I mean. So you're going to enjoy him on Wednesday, is when we're going to do that, Wednesday. And I got my phone on here to take your comments and calls today. Oops, I just messed it up. Sorry about that, Mark. Sorry about that, all you guys there. Is rude of me, but there, get my volume down. And now I can see Steve Jokum says greetings to everybody from the shores of Lake Michigan up there. And this is a site that is a green screen that Steve might see. Phenomenon around the sun. The sun's behind the tree here. There you go, Marty. And you see sun dogs on either side, halos and solar arcs, arc tangents, all kinds of stuff in the sky if you just look up. And yes, we're going to talk about looking up over this weekend, as you're going to get some moonshine from that. How old is the moon, Marty? Talking like an astronomer.
Well, yesterday was looked like about 6 days.
Very good. Yes, 6 days. It's going to be first quarter, 7 days on Saturday. So let's kick off today's show by thanking the Ramanujan family and GoTravel.org, their website. They also have a Facebook page. They literally go around the world doing a unique type of travelogue, taking you to places that even the astronauts' birthplaces and where they died and went to school and all that stuff. So we really appreciate their financial support. They're going to be big supporters of Shuttle Fest coming up in April. And the nostalgia of the holidays. Of course, I'm going to be reminding us that the reason for the season is Christmas. And this is a beautiful Christmas ornament. Look at that, Marty. I would love to own that. So this is the type of stuff you'd find at an eclectic store of knickknacks and stuff like that. But boy, what a find that would be. So much detail on that. So I know I need to get some holiday shopping done over the weekend here. So if you're like me, go out there and get her done so you don't have to think about it. We're 20 days away from the big man bringing your gifts down the chimney. Dean Babcock. Hi to Dean Babcock. I know he's probably watching. As is Doug Forrest says hello. Carlton Bailey. Mitch Rothman, a man space. And Steve is saying it's overcast, no sky fun tonight. And I'm sorry about that. It's overcast here too. That is why I moved away from Northwest Ohio, because it's truly the Lake Erie effect and the Great Lakes effect is like pulling a blind down of clouds. And you're lucky to see. I was 2 months up there in January and February 7 years ago, and I saw the sun shining like 5 times. But thank you for the Life magazine offer there. Dean Babcock sent me photos of these, wondered if we needed them. We have most of these in our collection, and I wish they sold for more. If you can get $5 to $10 out of them, that's pretty good. A couple of the Apollo ones all these, or even go for a little bit more. But these all have stories about astronauts in them. And I'm going to start showing everyone what everybody looks like. And there is Dean Babcock. Dean, a picture I took off your Facebook page. He appears to be an outlaw motor racing fan. Those are the dirt vehicles with the big wing on top of them. And I saw some pictures of him at Daytona and so forth. So there's Dean Babcock. Again, we have such a smart and intelligent group, Marty, of people that follow us on Stay Curious. There is Steve Jokums on the right, talking to Julie on the left there. And that, of course, is Dave Stange on the right. Julia, his wife. This was at the private Shuttle Fest 3 event for our sponsors, like these gentlemen were. So put some faces to the names here in 2025 is my pledge, because I believe it were people that connecting with people. And that's the fellowship that I certainly nurture in everything I do with the American Space Museum. Marty's space trivia question of the day. Take it away, Marty.
Hey, the space shuttle flew 135 missions. How many different people were flown? Simple question.
That's the question. How many different people flew on the space shuttle? Not tickets punched, okay, so to speak, but the number of different humans that entered there. And that's a pretty well-established number, easy to figure out. So, Steve, refrain from that, please, my friend. Go look at the timesheets for Ferrari and Quali 2 today. They're in the last race of the year in Abu Dhabi, a beautiful night race. Yeah, Steve, you're exempt. You've had enough. He even gave us a little math lesson yesterday, so that was great. Well, today is day 6 of the moon here. I can confirm that on my app for that I have on that I'll show you all. Of course, I love the astronomy apps that we have, and one of my favorite ones is, of course, the moon phases. You can't see it from there, but I hit moon phases, and it shows me that the moon is 5.29 days old. Let me make me small there. 5.29 days old on this app. It says how far away it is, 372,562 kilometers. Okay, so that's divided by, I wonder why it's in kilometers. I had it in miles for a while. Change that later. But this app also gives you the, as you see, the landing sites of the Apollo and craters' names. And it's just called Phases of the Moon on my Android. So, you put you all big up there. Yes, so the moon is a little over 6 days, almost 6 days old tonight. 7 days old is first quarter that it will be tomorrow. Now you're talking like an amateur astronomer. Here is how the moon looked last night in between Venus and Saturn. And I want to show you how it's going to look tonight. See how much the moon has moved? 12.5 degrees in a 24-hour period. All right. And it's going to stand beside Saturn on Sunday night. All right. So Saturday, it'll go another closer, and it'll be right beside it Sunday night there. And Venus, of course, is so bright, the brightest object in the sky except the sun and the moon. And as you see, there's Venus, Jupiter's right in between them. Saturn will look a little goldish to you, yellowish maybe. The star below it is also the only bright star in the area. That is Fomalhaut in Pisces, the southern fish. And so that is the marching across the ecliptic of the moon. Now, thank you, Jay Honeycutt, for sending me this news flash that Mercury, Venus, and Saturn are going to be above the pyramids in Giza tonight. And then, Marty, this only happens every 2,373 years. That's amazing, isn't it? No, it's not amazing. It is an outright stupid internet not. All right. This is not happening tonight. It ain't even close to happening. All right. And this is a artwork to show the three planets or the belt of Orion or something, was what the three pyramids of Giza was about. How could Mercury be part of this when it is at inferior conjunction, I say? Inferior conjunction, Mark, yes. This inferior conjunction occurs when a planet like Mercury or Venus passes between the Earth and the Sun. All right. And right now, today, as we speak, Mercury is passing between the Earth and the Sun, moving from the evening sky to the morning sky. If it was a little higher up in its orbit, it would cross the Sun. And we would see the little black dot on the Sun today in the form of Mercury. And that happens every 12 or 15 years, okay? A inferior conjunction of Venus happens about every 180 years. We last had one in like 2008, I think it was. Mercury orbits the Sun every 88 days, and Earth is also moving, so Mercury passes between the Earth and the Sun roughly every 116 days. So this is not happening today. No way. And thank you, Jay, for sending me that. Mr. Jay Honeycutt, former director of the Space Center here. That is not happening. It is, again, in a way, a cruel internet joke on people who don't understand astronomy or follow astronomy. And I've said time and time again, Marty, there's more people that know how to bass fish than know how to put a telescope on the Orion Nebula, all right? Millions and millions of people are part of the fishing, a wonderful sport here in America, I'm just talking about. And there might be 1 million amateur astronomers worldwide that are out there hawking the stars. All right, as I continue to hawk the sky here before we get to some breaking news, guess what, Marty? Today is the earliest sunset of the year. No, actually, it's Sunday, and so we're not going to be talking to you Sunday. Sunday is the earliest sunset of the year. That will be December 8th. Did you know the earliest sunset isn't the winter solstice, Marty? A lot of people would say, wait a minute. December 8th, Mark, the winter solstice is December 21st. That's the day with fewest daylight, 10 hours and 20 minutes here on the Space Coast, December 22nd, the first day of winter. So we still got a couple weeks to go of autumn. But actually, the sun sets the earliest this Sunday, and then it'll rise later to make up for that. 5:27 Sunday, Marty, as if it's not setting early enough. And here's to show you why. At the bottom, the way the Earth's axis is tilted, the sun is low in the sky, makes a low arc, a lot lower arc than the summer solstice up at the top when the sun is way high up and our hemisphere is getting the direct rays of sunlight. Whereas Cliff Watson down in Australia, hi Cliffy, he'll be joining in soon. Cliff will be experiencing the first day of summer on the 21st. So just thought you'd like to know. Sunday is the earliest sunset at 5:27, and all of you who enjoy golf and tennis and other outdoor sports, including gardening, will probably appreciate that you're gaining about a minute of sunlight after that. So Dean Babcock says it should be clearing tonight in central Illinois, and he'll be looking skyward. Check out that app for the International Space Station. I saw it go over last night. Yeah, Marty.
I got a question. You just said Cliff will be experiencing summer the 1st or December 21st, right? But he sent a comment a couple of days ago that summer there is December 1st. So why is there a difference in what you're saying and what he's saying?
Because he's going by the meteorologist's summer. Okay, meteorologists even say this down here. The first, you cannot change the winter solstice. Okay, so the 21st is actually when it'll be the sun over the Tropic of Capricorn, and But meteorologists, particularly maybe down there, consider December the first day of winter, December, January, February. They like calling March 1st, first day of spring. So that's why. Yeah, just kind of uh, it does feel more like winter than autumn, of course, when you get into December. But thank you for the question, Marty. All right, thought I'd throw in there a little holiday telescope logic, as if you're looking for a telescope to buy for yourself, or that precocious teenager or young preteen. I recommend you get what you pay for. Don't buy anything out of the big box stores, because it's mostly made of plastic, including the lenses. Uh, uh, Binoculars are, if you don't have a good set of binoculars already, binoculars are the way to go. There's my good friend Farrell Snyder in Tennessee looking at the crescent moon there, 1 day old, 2 day old moon about. And uh, that's, if you have a pair of binoculars, start out with that, all right? And sit on the lawn chair and see what you can see. However, you're not going to be able to hold it very steady. So I racked up here a whole bunch of binocular holders from Amazon and other companies that you can see. You can strap it on a tripod. The one over here, the first one there, has got what I showed you before, a little tong that sits down on the quick release of any tripod that you screw in there. You see a lady looking underneath there. Yes, it can be an awkward angle. So and look, they've got counterweights on that and everything. That's a parallelogram that you can build, so that no matter who's looking through it, when you move it up and down, the object stays on there. And over my head are a couple different adapters that go on the inside right here. Every binocular, you can peel off the little plastic insert there, and you will see that there's a threaded socket in there that will take a standard thread from these products right there. That's what these are right there. They're $10 to $15, and they're great for birding or just whatever you want to watch on a tripod, so your hands are free and things are steady. 3 types of telescopes, real quick. The one that Isaac Newton invented right here, with a mirror, like a shaving mirror, that brings all the light in focus, and you look through an eyepiece on the side. An elaborate kind that Galileo popularized, the single refractor, like this one here, that probably most of you have looked through. And those are $100 all day long, but they're cheap. This one does have a glass lens, and you can tell that because anything that is plastic will have a milky white to it. See that purple there? I caught some purple there. There, that purple. That's giving you some coating on there, showing that it's glass. The one on the far left is a combination of a mirror and a lens, with a lens on the front, a corrective lens, and a mirror on the back. And you conveniently look from the back instead of the side. Of course, those are finder scopes. There's a smaller telescope on there, 8 power. They're basically a monocular, one binocular. But these are called catadioptics or Schmidt-Cassegrains on the left. And CATS for short. Catadioptic is the optical system. Schmidt-Cassegrain is sort of the adaptation of the gentleman that put it together 100 years ago. That is very compact, portable, and affordable also. This is a $3,000 or more rig here. The one in the center, this has a motor that will follow the stars. The one in the center does not have a motor. And it shouldn't be on a tripod. It should be on like a gun turret looking thing for more stability. But that's probably $500 to $1,000. And the one on the left is probably $700 to $1,000. Maybe you add money when you add computer electronics to it, and that it follows the stars. Appreciably adds $100 to $200 to a telescope. So you get what you pay for, but also you want to make sure you can carry it, move it around. Will it fit in your car? Very serious considerations, Marty. Will it fit in your car? A friend of mine bought a 20-inch telescope. That's a huge Dobsonian, and he couldn't get it in his car. So he had to go out and buy a car that he could actually, the telescope broke down somewhat. And he bought a car, and that 20-inch telescope become known as the Tercel 20. He bought a Tercel car. And if you really want Santa Claus to be good to you, there's a $5,000 rig there with the tripod. This is an astrophotography telescope, all right, with very special optics. It's a refractor, but it's what they call it's a very serious refractor, and the optics actually match. This is the camera. That's the CCD camera system there that is optimized with the whole system there, and it's got a tracking platform, and you can learn how to, while you're hours away photographing things, it'll photograph things while you're sleeping. You'll spend hours processing the photos that you see, and a lot of club members in the Brevard Astronomical Society that I'm a member of are serious photographers with rigs like these. But the hot item under the Christmas tree for that stargazer or anyone casually interested in astronomy is this. Under $500, the Sea Star. There's several other companies. I'm not promoting this brand, but they look like they don't look like a telescope. They have a lens on them and a box, and yet they're fully automatic. There's no eyepiece. It is sending a signal to your smart tablet or your computer inside your cozy home by the fireplace while it's downloading the Crab Nebula in Taurus the Bull. And I will afford one of these one day because it stacks the images. It'll take a 10-second exposure and then another 10-second exposure and layer them on top of each other. And if you have 30 of those 10-second exposures or 300 seconds, that's like taking a 5-minute long exposure. And the longer you take exposure, the more light is accumulated and the better image you get. So there's some recommendations for the holiday gifts there. Yes, Marty.
Fox McCloud is asking, what constellations should we look for this winter?
Well, Fox McCloud, this is the best time of year to look at constellations. You're going to be seeing soon where Jupiter is, Taurus the Bull, a V-shaped, and behind it will be rising Orion. So as you're looking to the east about 9 o'clock, there's going to be a really bright star high up. That's Jupiter, the planet, and rising on its side is Orion with 3 stars for its belt, and you can really see those about 10 o'clock. And then later in the winter, it will be directly south. So thanks for asking. We will be sharing that with you on Stay Curious. As Dean's saying, he enjoys looking at Orion. Dave Stangy's arriving late today. Showed a picture of you and Steve Jokums together with Julia. Dave, you'll have to go back and look at that memory from Shuttle Fest. Yes, but go when you're shopping, particularly if you're at the Wally World or a Books A Million or whatever newspaper, magazine store, whatever you can find bookstore. Go get Sky and Telescope or Astronomy magazine. I just happen to have one of each here by me here. Or do I? I've got Astronomy. Yeah, Astronomy magazine is the for the common person, the beginner. All right. All of these magazines have inside of them a star chart that's going to show you what's up in the sky. Whoop. I'll get it, Marty. And then detail what's on the other side there. Oh, I don't think I can get that. Sorry. Wait a minute, I will. I think I can get it easier than you. My phone just fell over there, so
The magazine just fell.
we need a bigger studio here. So hang on, I'm going to show you my bald spot. All right, there we go. Aha! This was the case we used, Marty and I, to stand up pictures to show you in the good old days before our green screen. After all, we are 4.5 years into bringing you Stay Curious. And there we go. No harm done there. So that's enough of the holiday stargazing stuff that I want to lay on y'all today, because we got some breaking news, and I have worked kind of hard today to put together some facts, news style about some of the people in the news and some of the events in the news. So let's kick it off first with Voyager 1 from Jupiter. Voyager 1 from Earth to now 12 billion miles from Earth in the heliosphere of the sun has turned on an S-band transmitter, Marty, that hasn't been heard from in decades. It was launched 47 years ago in 1977. And Marty, this is part of what you were part of with NASA and with the lunar module, which we're going to celebrate the launch tonight of Apollo 17. All right. And I forgot to put up the slide today that you can follow it live. I put it on Facebook. There's a website, Apollo 17 Real Time. Voyager 1, Marty, lived long because although its technology is aging, its technology is over 50 years old. It still stands in resilience to show NASA's inventiveness and how NASA way does things. Okay. The contractors, of course, are what we're talking about of NASA. The way they built this probe, and the fact that it's still working 47 years later, and that they resurrected an old transmitter. The recovery of the S-band transmitter proved challenging for the mission team, considering it is the lower frequency backup channel that transmits weaker signals than those of the S-band. It took over 12 hours for the image, for the signal to come back. Voyager 1 so far away, and then its twin Voyager 2 is headed in another direction out of the solar system, but it also is billions and billions of miles away. It's outside the influence of the solar heliosphere, they call it. So this is very interesting. Engineers did a test back in October to see if they get a reply, and they did. The first time in over 40 years that the backup would be transmitting, as it builds a temporary link while the team figures out the issues to the other transmission channel, the X-band. So still alive, still kicking, better than the Energizer Bunny. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 is also still sending signals back. Wouldn't we love to see if it was battered or not? Yeah, Marty, you got a question?
Yeah, Mitch Rothman's asking, what company was the prime contractor for Voyager?
Boy, you got me there. Marty, Marty's going to research that for us there. I'm going to guess Martin Marietta. Okay. I don't think Boeing, but Marty, Voyager 1, probably a Wikipedia, or just put manufacturer of it in there. One thing that was put on the side, and this is actually on the bus, they call it, the side of the Voyager, was this plaque that has inside of it a record and a needle with sounds of Earth, sights of Earth. It's a video player, kind of like the Blu-ray, with this of where we were and where we came from on there. A lot of scientific code. Who built it?
JPL.
Jet Propulsion Lab. There you go. Yeah, of course it's built by the Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena, California, and not too far from Doug Forrest. So thanks. Well, let's get some more breaking news going here today. Is the Artemis panel that was yesterday with that. As NASA convened, maybe for the last time, with Bill Nelson as the head of the NASA administrator. He's on the far left. NASA Deputy Administrator Pam Melroy is right there beside him. They both flew to space. Of course, Pam Bow was the pilot and then twice a commander once. In the middle there is Associate Administrator Jim Free. I believe he took over for Bob Cabana when Bob retired. And NASA astronaut and Artemis II Commander Reed Wiseman is on the right. They're seen during an update of the agency's Artemis campaign yesterday at NASA headquarters, the Mary Jackson Building in Washington, D.C. Photo credit by Bill Ingalls, who I'd love to talk to Bill Ingalls someday. Uh, well, here's what come out of it if you didn't read it in the news. They're worried about the heat shield from the Artemis 1 uncrewed flight. Though they've put the heat shield on for the Artemis 2 Orion already, uh, they're still evaluating whether that will fly with humans on board, including Reed there as the commander. But they were going to do Artemis 2 was to be launched November last year. All right. It is pushed back to April 2026. I'm getting so old I can't think that far ahead, Marty. Let's see. We're not even into 2025. That's a month away. And so you got to get to April 2025. And then you mean another 12 months after April 2025? Oh, gosh, these poor astronauts. I mean, they're going to be so overtrained for this. And then Artemis 3 to land on the moon in mid-2027, a year later than Artemis 2. Meanwhile, China is saying they will have boots on the lunar surface South Pole in 2030. We hopefully will beat them to the moon if there is an Artemis program after the next Trump administration takes over. Nobody knows. But there's some good signs that we're still going to the moon, and share that breaking news with you here in a minute. They're also addressing the environmental control life support systems. We're not as anomalous flying as they thought in there. Let me go here. Yes, Marty.
Dean Babcock is asking, why wouldn't the same type of heat shield used on the Apollo spacecraft work?
Boy, that's a good question, Dean. Extensive analysis, I'm going to read what the report said here. Extensive analysis, including more than 100 tests, determined the heat shield on Artemis 1 did not allow for enough of the gases generated inside a material called AVCOAT, AVCOAT, to escape, which caused some of the material to crack and break off. AVCOAT is designed to wear away as it heats up and is a key material in the thermal protection system that guards Orion and its crew from its nearly 5,000 degree Fahrenheit temperatures that are generated when Orion returns from the moon through the Earth's atmosphere at a speed of about 25,000 miles an hour. And it has to slow down to 325 miles an hour before its parachutes unfurl over the Pacific Ocean like they did here in this picture here. So is AVCOAT a different material? Marty's not a command module Rockwell guy, or North American guy, excuse me. Why, again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's the Russians' philosophy. That's why their Soyuz spacecraft is the same with modernizations over 4 decades. So that's where that stands right now, is we're pushing it back again to Artemis. It was really supposed to go maybe in February 2025. All right. And they're going back to April 2026 for Artemis 2. Man, those 4 astronauts are going to be so overtrained. And but we'll see what happens, because we got more breaking news for you, Marty. And that is about this man, Jared Isaacman. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has chosen billionaire and private astronaut Jared Isaacman to lead NASA after he takes office in January. Isaacman is 41 years old. There he is with his wife and 2 children. I like choosing pictures that you don't see. Let's humanize this gentleman a little bit. His wife's Monica. They grew up in the same town in Union Township, New Jersey, where they were both born. Their long-standing relationship goes back to middle school together. All right, they've been a couple for over 2 decades. How did he make his money? Well, that's their 2 children also, Mila and Liv. All right. He's 41 years old, folks, okay? And boy, did he take an unorthodox path to riches. He was at age 15, dropped out of high school, Marty, and later took a GED, a high school equivalency exam. He says in a documentary after he's gone to space twice. I think you all know that. With his private company, the Inspiration 4 mission raised millions of dollars for St. Jude Hospital, and I understand the Polaris Dawn raised over $50 million for that wonderful St. Jude institution that helps children. Isaacman says, I was a horrible student, and I wasn't like happy in school either. After he dropped out at age 15, he launched his successful company Shift 4 Payments from his parents' basement. All right, you know what Shift 4 Payments does, Marty?
Nope.
Well, they handle a third of the restaurants and hotels in the United States with their payments, like Hilton, Four Seasons, KSC, Arby's. They process over $260 billion annually. So you rake off a little 0.5% of $260 billion, and you suddenly become a billionaire or two. He founded Draken International in 2011, a defense firm that trains Air Force pilots and owns the world's largest fleet of private military aircraft. All right. And he had another company called Blackstone that he sold for 9-figure sum. This is all from Forbes, by the way. I'm not making this up. Forbes, the financial magazine. He's thought to be a thrill seeker. He has his own MiG Soviet jet fighter, and then to unwind after breaking the speed of sound, he'll do a mountain climb with his family or something like that. He also set the world record in 2009 for flying around the Earth in a jet. Not sure what kind of jet that was, but a light jet, it calls it there. So, quite a guy, Marty. Quite a guy. Worth over $2 billion, okay? And he is obviously a great friend of Elon Musk. Here he is talking at the 2023 SpaceCom in Orlando that I attended. He talked for over an hour, sitting there just kind of taking questions from a NASA moderator. This was in 2003 before the launch of the first Starship. And what he wanted to talk about was, he was going to go to space and do a spacewalk. And there he is in space. And by golly, he sure did that spacewalk in another iconic image of the rocket renaissance. But I was enthralled with his glibness, his warm charm. He really connected with the audience. He was very factual that he was in bed with Elon Musk and everything that Elon wanted to do, including going to Mars. He said Musk is going to build these starships just like the DC-10 plane that was so popular in the 1940s or 30s, whenever those were, just coming off the assembly line, and everybody flew in those. He said he's just going to keep building them and pushing them to the end, and just like he did his Falcon 9 rocket until it's proven worthy and sustainable. So I'm a fan of his for sure. I can't believe how young he is, 41, and so we'll see if he is confirmed by the Senate or Congress, whoever does that confirmation, and becomes the next NASA administrator. There have been other astronauts have been NASA administrators. And Marty, you got to talk to an astronaut who was a temporary NASA administrator, Fred Gregory. What'd Fred say about the choice of Jared Isaacman?
Well, we couldn't talk too long. There's a line of people to talk with him, but he was definitely a supporter, definitely in favor of Isaacman as NASA director.
There he is. That is an iconic image, boy. That is something else. As they did this spacewalk right before the Terminator, he and the other lady whose name I forget. But all right, some other breaking news here. And I didn't. That was something I think you gave me in the news, Marty. Was the planet Uranus and Neptune which are both in the night sky right now, though you won't see them, possibly have water oceans like layered beneath their very cold atmospheric clouds that we're looking at. And this is Uranus in the foreground, Neptune in the back. That's the only view we've got of them from Voyager spacecraft. Actually, Voyager 2, not the Voyager 1 I talked about. And so the new theory from data in the Webb Telescope and Hubble Telescope and all kinds of telescopes on Earth is it's quite possible now that these are gigantic gas giants. They're 4 times bigger than Earth, 30,000 miles across. But as the cloud tops are cold, 300 and some below zero, you go closer into the interior of any planet and it gets hotter, just like the Earth gets hotter. That's why there's molten lava inside the Earth's core and volcanoes spew it out. All right. So the compression is also the pressure, like the pressure of air on top of us or the pressure in the water that would crush you on the bottom of the ocean. They think diamonds are formed at the very center of some of these, like it could be raining diamonds from the carbon. But they also think that certain molecules can be squeezed into O2 water, H2O, that are present there. It can be squeezed, and there could be a 100-mile wide ocean circling the entire globe of both of these planets. And crazy, isn't it? Marty, a question.
A comment from Tom Celentano, which I didn't even think about this. He says he's younger than Brandenstein, but not born until 1983, after the shuttle era began.
Yeah, that's for Jared Isaacman's nomination as NASA administrator, and Dean Babcock thinks he'd make a good one, and Tom Celentano thinks he's getting positive reviews, and let's see. Cliff Watson, I don't know if I can read that. I have to pre-read your stuff there, Cliff. NASA really needs a kick in the ass and get on with it. Yes, I know that safety's priority, but it's just dragging on. Yeah, isn't it though? I mean, Marty, lunar module, the 6th one that's going to land on the moon was launched. Let's see, 1972, subtract 1969. Okay, 3.5 years. You put 6 vehicles on the moon, 3.5 years apart, and of course 13 would have gone there, had not, and surviving 13 in between it. My gosh, but this is where we're going to probably see some changes. I don't think we're going to see a change in going to the moon. I think we're going to see a change in private companies, aka Jared Isaacman's Polaris Dawn and Elon Musk's could go, or the Blue Moon of Jeff Bezos. He's got a lunar lander that he's building that is in the queue. So can't leave Blue Origin out. Once they start launching this multi-billion-dollar facility just 8 miles from us is really going to be something else. All right. Thank you all for enjoying today's breaking news stuff on there. By the way, our question of the day today, Marty, is, in case you haven't heard it, Steve Jokums is excluded because he's just our Ken Jennings of Jeopardy.
Yeah, let's give Steve a chance to answer now. We've only had one answer so far. So let's give Steve a go.
Okay. Dean Babcock says, I'd guess over 300 people have flown on the shuttle. And I'm gonna tease you that you're right. All right, but there is an exact number. All right.
He's close. He's not right.
Right. Yeah, he's right. That's over 300. Okay. That's right. All right. So let's go. There's Jupiter about 9:30, 10 o'clock, 9:30. You're going to let it get up about 10 o'clock and it's going to knock your socks off. So bright. Venus is bright too, a lot brighter, but Jupiter is so bright. Capella is that bright star that will be the left of it. It is in the V shape of Taurus the Bull. There, that's something that budding amateur astronomer there, Fox McCloud, asked about. That is a V shape that you can see. That's Aldebaran, another first magnitude star. There's only like 8 of them that bright in the sky. And you see the little cluster at the top? That's the Pleiades star cluster in the shoulder of the bull. The bull is shown with his head with the V's, and the horns are out there, the two stars between Capella and Jupiter. Those are the tips of the horns. Uranus is up there, so's Neptune. All right. Getting to the end of my breaking news here before I tease you a little bit with the Apollo 17. The James Webb Telescope has investigated a find that literally raises a cosmic question. What did you find? Question mark. The JWST beheld in a high-resolution view in the Vela constellation, 1,400 light-years away, a curious question mark shaped object. While the sharp focus has been on the two young stars, this strange apparition seems quite enticing and is questioning how early stars, galaxies formed. All right. A cosmic question mark, the distant universe's galactic dance. All right. And so this mark questions what we're looking at here. You see it on the insert there, pun intended. What we think we're seeing here are several galaxies merging together in the very early solar system, something that we never thought about. Perhaps this is such a feature that we've never seen before because we're looking through the dust. Hubble Space Telescope can't see through cosmic dust, but the James Webb Telescope can with its infrared imaging. So that's why we're seeing things that Hubble didn't. This is a rare alignment, and over a few have been documented in the observable universe. The effect is beyond simply the odd shape of something that looks like a question mark. It is also about the haphazard occurrence of such observations. All right. So we do think these are interacting galaxies, but they are in such early development, looking back 10 billion years into the beginning of our galaxy, of the entire universe, that we're not sure why this is happening so early in the universe. Things were spreading apart. So that's a window into galactic development and question mark, Marty?
And a question from Dean Babcock. Why would the Pleiades not be considered a constellation?
That's a good question, Dean. That's rooted in 3,000 to 5,000 years ago, the ancient astronomers. Some civilizations do call it a separate constellation. We recognize 88 constellations or star patterns. Think of our states on the map. They all have borders. The borders aren't really square defined exact. There are some shortcuts around them and curly Qs and so forth. We have 88 constellations, and the Pleiades is an asterism. It's not really, it's really a name of a star cluster. It's a group of star clusters. But the Southern Cross isn't much bigger than the Pleiades, and it has its own name, of course, that sailors gave it. There are asterisms in the sky. No, the Big Dipper is not one of the 88 constellations. That is just part of Ursa Major, the Big Bear. It's the hindquarters of it with the tail. By the way, we've never found a skeleton of a bear with a long tail. They all have short, stubby tails. So where that comes from is another conjecture. But go to the library and get you a good book on constellations, particularly the mythology of constellations or Order One. I find those books quite fascinating to me, to think back the way the ancients were thinking. But the Chinese civilization has different star patterns they put together. You have cultures of North American Indians that have their own star patterns that they give names to. The Big Dipper is another example where the three stars of the handle of the Big Dipper were thought to be warriors chasing a bear. All right. And so it's not where we are in the Western world accustomed to these 88 constellations, but they're arbitrary. All right. Their borders are completely arbitrary. Very few of them look like the animal or thing they represent. Orion is one of the few examples that does look like a man with a belt, and his stars are shoulders and knees. Leo the lion kind of looks like a sideways lion, but Marty, I'm rambling on because this is where Marty's eyes glaze over because he cannot see it. Go ahead,
I
Marty.
claim there are no constellations.
Pardon me?
I claim there are no
Yeah,
constellations.
yeah, yeah. He does. He does, and I've been with him many times under the canopy of stars, pointing out stuff with a laser pointer, even. But that's okay. He understands a lot of things about the lunar module I'll never understand, or those wonderful SSME engines on there. Uh, yeah, the Southern Cross is quite something else, Cliff Watson. Um, but and Dean Babcock guesses 330 people flying the shuttle in there. So, Cliffy, everything's upside down to you. How can you figure it out down there, buddy? All right, thank you all for enjoying some breaking news there that I love to have. If you like it, let me know you do, and I'll try to do it more frequently. But if you want to have some fun over the weekend, the next few days, actually for almost 10 days, live as it's occurring in real time, you can go to the moon with Apollo 17. Now, I think they actually launched, they should have started the launch tonight at 12:33 p.m., the only night launch. Here's some, but I think they started it on the 52nd calendar, Thursday type of mode. So I looked at it, hit now in progress. You're going to enjoy watching them land on the moon, walk on the moon. There'll be hours of footage that you can have as background noise when they land on the moon. And when do they land on the moon? They were launched December 7th, technically. They land on the moon, I think, December 12th. And Mitch Rothman, you can correct me on that. Mitch is part of a movement that's trying to make a national holiday of Moon Day, July 20th, when Apollo 11 landed on the moon. Here's going to show you some triple images here of the Saturn V, the last one to fly with crewed people on it. And there you have, in this to left to the right is Harrison Schmitt, Gene Cernan, 38 years old, and Ron Evans on the right. I believe Harrison Jack Schmitt was 36 years old. He's 89 now. All right, so 72. So he would have been 37, I guess, because he's 89 years old now. So met Jack several times. He's the only one alive to tell the story. He bumped. Who'd he bump from? I'm always hanging up on this name, Marty. He bumped because he was the only geologist, and which I think of his first. Someone tell me who he bumped. He was STS-2 commander, and passed up the Skylab in the
I'll look it up.
Senior moment there. Dean Babcock knows it, or Cliff Watson. I'll bet Steve Jokums knows. Once I think of his first name, flew the F-15. The last second hold on the launch of 17 was very unusual for manned flights at the time. Joe Engle. Thank you, Doug Forrest. Joe Engle.
And Apollo 17 landed on the 11th.
Landed on the 11th. Okay. 5 days later, they orbited for a full day. So Apollo 17 landed on the 11th. Thank you, Dean. Joe Engle. Man, I always trip up on Joe Engle. I'd love to have met him. He was the only man to go to space twice in a reusable vehicle because he was an X-15 pilot. Over there on the right, the suit room. All right. And I'll bet Ronnie Woods was in that room, our good friend. You've got the Saturn V being fueled up there. Got the memes destruction watching today, huh? All right. Welcome to the show. And welcome, of course, Steve Jokums, Dean Babcock, Doug Forrest, Carlton Bailey, Mitch Rothman, Tom Celentano, Tommy Usiak. Good to see you, buddy. Fox McLeod, Dave Stange, and Cliff Watson, all loyal watchers of our program here. There's a little behind the scenes in the flight room up there. The big tall guy with the headphones, that's Rocco Petrone. All right. Of course, you all recognize Gene Kranz there in the middle. I like this. Gino is waiting for Ron Evans to get a hug from his wife, Marty, with Jack Schmidt standing behind him there. It's like Gene saying, come on, let's get on with it. How do I know that's Gene? Because he's got the red stripes on his spacesuit that he's going to wear on the moon. All right. Think about that, folks. They launched and then and landed in the suits they wore on the moon. All right. They didn't have an extra set in there. So I think that's kind of cool, though. And there's the only night launch of a Saturn V rocket. Marty, where were you and what was that like, sir?
I was in the VAB parking lot, kind of near the LCC, and it was just so different. I mean, just the night sky just lighting up. You know, the sound was just as loud as all the other Saturn V's, but just the visual was just something. It's very difficult to describe. You'd have to see the pictures.
Did you feel it
yeah.
in your chest, and did your shorts flap in the December breeze, or?
Well, I wasn't wearing shorts, but
You could probably then, though. Where we're rubbing it in, Stangy and Jokum up there, it's starting to get cold. But I mean, did you really feel the rumble in your body, like I have it at a drag racing when those 8,000 horsepower rail cars take off? You can feel it in your chest.
well, you're 3 miles away, but you can certainly feel it. I
Wow.
mean, same thing with the space shuttle. You can feel it then. And actually, with the SpaceX Dragon, you feel it also.
Yeah.
Not near as much, but you do feel it.
That had to be a forever memory for sure. So, well, thank you all for watching today. Oh, Marty has skipped over the question again. Why is it doing that? We've got a little anomaly there. So what is the answer to your question of how many individual people have flown on the space shuttle during its 135 flights, 35 years?
Our number is 355. So I forget who was saying 320. Was that Dean? No, Dean was getting closer from 300 to, I think.
355 as I consult my shuttle scroll here with all my shuttle mission facts neatly put on there, and a couple of 5 or 6 astronauts and 3 launch directors have autographed it. Total number of flyers 355. Okay. How many tickets punched? 852. So that's almost, each individual averaged over 2.5 flights, a 355. 852 is the total number of flyers. They call it flyers. I call it tickets punched on there. Of course, you've got the most, Story Musgrave, and what's his face? They have 7 times on there, and a lot of 1 times on there. He's got again, can't start thinking. I'm not gonna. Who else has 7 flights on the shuttle besides Story Musgrave? He's got a hyphenated last name. All right, from Chang Diaz. Chang Diaz. I got it. Finally. I'm going to have to eat some eggnog, drink some eggnog here, and increase my brain power there. So what's Steve Jokum say there? Correct, Marty. Okay. we're confirmed there that Steve agrees with Marty there. So that's, love this. Think about the holidays as you're out. Be safe. Be kind to everybody. I have to tone down my impatience a whole lot, okay, out there. Hope you've enjoyed today's show. I know one thing I enjoyed doing, Marty, is seeing the lights around town. And that is on Indian River Road, near Ankoko area up there on the Indian River. And that's quite a display there. But that's something I'll be doing all weekend, is driving around enjoying everyone's pretty holiday decorations. So if you've got your house decorated, and I know you probably do, Dave Stangy. Julia probably likes that. How about Bill Whiting? We haven't heard from Bill Whiting today. And Bill Whiting and his wife Lisa have enjoying their dinner up there in Michigan. So if you got a picture of your house or send it to me of what it looks like. All right. I'd like to see a drone picture of some of y'all's houses up there. So, uh, and what's he? Yeah, that is the Griswold family down here for sure. But guess what? This is, I'm sure that a lawn company did this for them. They wrapped the trees down here. It looks great. Jerry Ross is a 6-time flyer. Jerry wanted that 7th flight very badly. Okay, as did John Young want another flight in there to tie his 7 because he had 6 in the Gemini, Apollo, and shuttle era. So, well, thank you all for joining me for a great week, me and Marty for a great week. If you wonder where John Graham is, he's got family business he's tending to, and will be back and helping us in the future, we hope. But we've got an exciting STEAM bilingual program going on this weekend at our museum with our wonderful educator, Natalia Sepulveda. She's got the room decorated up there. Check it out. I'll show you some pictures of that for what she's doing tomorrow for about a dozen STEAM educated kids there. So, again, everybody enjoy a wonderful weekend in December. Hope your holiday shopping is smooth. Hope your travels are good. Hope your teams win and everyone stays in good spirits. Okay. Marty, thank you for an excellent job this week. We're actually acting like we've done this before. As my duties as the director of this museum now, I've got to manage my time a little bit better, but I'm always finding time to do my best that I can every time on a Stay Curious episode. So thank you for joining me, and do send us those pictures of your family tree. How about your Christmas tree or a Christmas ornament on your tree? Let's get in the spirit like we did with your wonderful pictures, including ones Marty sent me of the autumn foliage. So until next week, I'm Mark Marquette saying thank you so much for supporting the American Space Museum, and I can't wait to see you here to bridge the space between us.